Math fans, hopefully you've already completed your welcome work. I'll briefly go over that before we have our exciting lesson on lateral and surface area of cylinders. And we all know cylinders are just like pop cans. All right, let's look at the first one. It says find the surface area of the rectangular prism below. Remember, there are six sides to this, and we're basically, there's a little review, I know you know this, going to find the different surfaces, the area of the different surfaces, and then we're going to add them up. And we know the area is the length times width times the six sides. So you got the front and the back, the left and the right, and the top and the bottom. So the front, the dimensions of this front part, 6 times 3, and there's two of them, right? There's a front and a back. So 6 times 3 is 18, times 2 is 36. Then you've got the left and right sides. It's like this part right here and this other part you can't see. If this is 3, this is 3. So the dimensions of that are 3 and 4, right? I could write a 3 right there. So that one's 3 times 4 times 2. 2 because we got a left side and a right side. And then, of course, we have the top and the bottom. So this part right here, the top and the bottom. And if this is 4, this has got to be 4, right? So this top part, 6 by 4, right there at the top. And all we're doing is adding up the 6 sides. 6 times 4 is 24, times 2 is 48. I add all this up, it's 108 units. And don't forget the square area, the area. I bet you got that one right, didn't you? All right, let's move on to the next one. Remember, we've got 6 sides. We've got a front and a back, which would be back here. You can't really see it, right, because they don't draw it in for you. Front and the back, 3 times 4. 3 times 4, the area of this part, times 2. Why 2? Because we got a front and a back. Then we've got a left and a right. The left and the right, I'm counting that as this side and this other side back here that you really can't see. I'm trying to color that in to give you a visual. All right, the left and the right. The dimensions of that, well, this side's 7 and this side's 4, right? If that's 4, this is 4. 4 times 7 is 28 times 2. And then the top and the bottom, this part right here, the top and the bottom, which would be down here, they're the same. The base, bottom, 3 times 7. 3 times 7 and then 2 sides. Multiply that out. 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. Add all this up, you get 128 units. And don't forget the square area, the area. And our last one, the front side is 3 times 5 is 15. We got 2 of those, right? Front and back. Left and right, 7 times 3, 21. Times 2, 42. And the top and the bottom, this part right here, the base that it's sitting on, 5 times 7 times 2. You should have got 142 units. And don't forget the square area, the area. I know you did great on that. Awesome, you're getting it. So today's lesson is really a lot like that. Make sure you are filling out the packet while we're going over it, because today we're going to find the lateral area of cylinders. And we're also going to find the surface area of cylinders. And we all know what a cylinder is. A cylinder is just a pop can, right? I know I'm not an art teacher, but it basically looks like that. Let's get some vocabulary out of the way right here. What they're saying is Marie looks at sketches for containers that will hold individual plants. The plants are in the shape of a cylinder. Marie wants to wrap decorative paper around the curved surfaces. The circular bases, the top and the bottom, will not be covered with paper. So what they're talking about is covering this front part with paper. It's important that you read the questions. Let's fill in the 2 most important vocabulary terms. You got to differentiate these 2 terms here. Lateral area is the flat part, this part I shaded in, not the top and the bottom. And surface area, the area of the surface, is the top and the bottom and the flat area. So lateral area, the flat part, I could basically unwrap that and make that squared, which you'll see on the next page. So which part of this cylinder will be covered? Well, you know the answer to that. The front. The lateral surface of the cylinder will be covered. Hopefully you filled this part in. If not, press pause. Are you back? Let's move on. All right, so what we've got here, they give us a cylinder, right? They want to know how to find the dimensions. Now, let's say I cut that cylinder off. Circumference basically is the perimeter of a circle, right? So I take this page right here that I've unwrapped, which is all this. Not the top and the bottom, but all this, right? I'm taking that and just unwrapping it. And they tell me that it's 15, so this part right here is 15, right? This line right here that goes from here to here is 15. That's this, because they tell us the height of this is 15. So from here to here is 15. But then, of course, you thought, oh, no, not back to this again. To figure out what this is, the distance around here, distance around the top, well, that's circumference. So we know area is length times width, right? We know that. The first thing I'm going to do to figure this out, I always write down the radius and the diameter because I'm going to need them both. I write that down right off the bat. That way I don't get confused. But I'm going to have to use the formula for circumference to figure out how far it is from here to here. Right? This distance is circumference. I could wrap that back around that can. We know C equals pi d. In this particular problem, C, the circumference, pi, 3.14. D, diameter. Remember, if radius is halfway across, diameter is all the way across. So that gives us 62.8 inches. I don't even know why I squared that. That's not right. That time I squared the area, but I didn't need to. Times the height, right? So I take that 62.8, which is the distance from here to here. I had to figure that out. Times the height. So basically it's length times width, right? Right? Here's the length. C equals pi d times the width. 15, right? Length times width. That is the lateral area. Okay, the height of the rectangle is 15. The length of the rectangle is the circumference of the base. If you don't get that, I would make sure I write that down. It says, how does your answer to item 2 tell you about how to find the lateral area of a cylinder? We know the lateral area of the cylinder is the height of the cylinder times the circumference of the base. And remember, you got to do a calculation for the circumference. But what they're basically saying is length times width. Make sure you've copied all this down. Step 1, radius, diameter. Step 2, figure out how long this line is, which is reality, the circumference of that cylinder. Moving on. All right, here's a good example. Calculate the surface area of the plant container from item 2. Calculate the lateral area. Well, we know because we know the difference in those. Lateral area is just this gray part, right? So first we have to do that. And we're going to need both formulas because when we do the base, we're going to need the area of a circle formula. But let's just do the lateral area first. Okay, we know that circumference is pi d. Put a star by that. So they've got 15, right? There's the height. This part from here to here, 15. And the circumference, 2 pi times 10, or I always say pi d. But that's the same thing, right? If the radius is 10, what's the diameter? Radius is halfway across, that's 10. Diameter all the way across, that's 20. You're going to need that. So they take that, and it's 300 pi. Now, here's the other part. We've got to figure out that the base, the area of the base, well, we know the formula for area, right? Area equals pi r squared. So for the top and bottom, that's 2 circles, right? 2 circles we need to find the area of. We've already found the area of this strip right here. That area is 300 pi. So now we got to figure out the top and the bottom. Well, the area, formula for area equals pi r squared. Okay, They give you the formula again right here. So they've got the base, pi, the radius 10 squared. 10 times 10, remember that's not 10 times 2, not 10 times 2. 10 squared, 100 pi. So if this one's 100 pi, and the top is 100 pi, that's why they multiplied it by 2. So I got 100 pi and 100 pi, right? That's the area of the top and the bottom. And I know the area of that is 300 pi because we figured that out. That was the height times the circumference, or length times width. That is how you do it. Those are both steps. Remember, circumference is pi d. That's the top of the rectangle, the flat part. It's like I'm cutting off the side of this tube. You're going to need both these formulas to solve these problems. My poor Einstein said, "Oh my God, not this again." All right, let's do one. Here's a problem right out of your book. Find the lateral area and the surface area of the cylinder. Leave your answers in terms of pi. You don't even have to multiply times 3.14. You're going to see that. They know if you know how to multiply the numbers, you could type the rest into the calculator. So what I've done here is I got this. This is the front of that can. And here's the top, and here's the bottom. So we know to figure out the circumference, which is the distance from here to here, right? That's the circumference. That is the pi d part. And we're just going to take that circumference, this distance, and multiply it times the height, right? This part from here to here. So I've already got the formula written out for you. I always recommend writing the formula out. I bet you've heard me say that. C equals pi d. C equals pi. Okay, the diameter, they tell us it's 4 all the way across, pi d. So I get 4 pi, and then I'm just multiplying it by the height, right? That's 8. That's this part, the flat part. So area of the flat part, 32 pi, right? I took pi d, 4 times pi times 8. So the flat part's 32 pi. That's the lateral area. I'm done with the first part of that question. This is the lateral area. Now to figure out the surface area, I got two squares, right? Top and bottom. Well, they're both area equals pi r squared. I throw that formula in. Area equals pi times, if the diameter is 4, the radius is 2, right? 2 squared. In this case, it is 2 times 2, but I get 4 pi. But I have a top and a bottom. If this is 4 pi and this is 4 pi, now I can add them all up. The lateral area, right? Just the flat parts, the lateral area. LA, 32 pi. And the surface area, which is the top, bottom, and the whole side, is 40 pi. And don't forget to square the area. And how I got that, this is 32, right? This part's 32. 32. And each one of these is 4. 4 pi. 4 pi. Top and bottom. 32 pi was the area for that we figured out. That's the total surface area. 32 plus 4. 36 plus 4. 40. Surface area. You need to know the difference between lateral area and surface area. All right, one more time. Find the lateral area and surface area of the cylinder. Leave your answers in terms of pi. Look, you don't even got to multiply that out. You just leave pi as it is. Here's the formulas we're going to need. Area equals length times width. That's basically the circumference, the top of the rectangle. C equals pi d. And then we're just going to multiply that times the height. And area of circles, top and bottom, is pi r squared. I'm going to start by writing out the radius is 6. So we know the diameter is 12. Our formula, C equals pi d. C equals pi. Well, I've already figured out the diameter is 12, right? So that's the top of that square when I unwrap it. This part is 12 pi. And they tell us what the height is, right? It's 5. So C equals the area of that part, 5 times 12, 60 pi. That's the lateral area, right? That's the lateral part. Lateral meaning going sideways. The lateral area is 60 pi. But remember, we got those two circles. We got the top and the bottom, because they want to know the total surface, surface being the whole outside. We know what our formula is for area of a circle. Area equals, I love writing the formula down so I don't make a mistake, pi r squared. Area equals, we just write the symbol for pi. We know the radius is 6, so we've got 6 squared. And I know you're too smart to fall for it. That's not 12. No, no, no. 6 times 6, 6 squared. So my area of the top is 36, which is 6 times 6, pi. But remember, that's just one of these. I've got 2 of them. So I'm going to multiply that times 2. So the area of the top and the bottom, 72 pi. The area of the big flat part I cut off, 60 pi. I add those two together. I'm adding this, lateral area 60, and this, top 36 pi, bottom 36 pi. Add those together. I get 132 pi. That is the total surface area. That's the top, bottom, both sides. Remember, lateral area, just the part that's facing you. Surface area, the top and the bottom. All right, guys, watch some more videos, play some of the games. There is a short couple question quiz and then homework, which is only 4 problems. If you need to, copy down these notes right here. Have a great day.